Hello everyone, the Snowman here, and another tennis preview today for the Shanghai Rolex Masters in Shanghai, China this upcoming week. The 56-player Masters 1000 event, the second to last Masters 1000 tournament of the season. We still have Paris in a few weeks as well, but ATP year and WTA year for that matter wrapping up in the next month and a half. So a lot of points up for grabs though in Shanghai, and let's look at this draw. So one of the biggest things about this draw as we pull up the first section, no Rafael Nadal, who had to withdraw with a left wrist injury. He picked that up kind of during the Laver Cup, forced him to miss some Laver Cup action last month. And no Rafa is a big deal because he and Novak Djokovic are in a tight race for the year-end number one ranking. Rafa about 2,000 points ahead of Djokovic at the moment, but that was before this week where Djokovic playing in Tokyo, making a deep run there. He's into the final, could be picking up 500 points tomorrow. That would make the gap a bit smaller between those two players. So it's going to be a photo finish for the number one ranking. Hopefully Rafa is able to get healthy quickly and still play in the Paris Masters, but it could come down to the ATP year-end finals in London. That's big. Djokovic could tie Pete Sampras's all-time record with 6 year-end number one rankings. So that's big for him. Speaking of the Joker, he is the number one seed in this section number one, and he's taking it easy since that loss to Stan Wawrinka in the US Open round of 16. But as I said, playing in Tokyo this week and showing some excellent form. He's into the final there against John Millman, and he's been sharp. It's a tough section though for Djokovic. Could be Francis Tiafoe or Denis Shapovalov in the second round. Maybe John Isner in the third round. Tsitsipas in the round of 16. And speaking of Tsitsipas, he is a player who benefited greatly from the Laver Cup last month. I always thought of the Greek player as kind of a loner, not a lot of friends on the tour, but he really seemed to thrive in the team environment of the Laver Cup, and he seems to have a better demeanor now. Had lost his previous 4 matches heading into the Laver Cup, but had a great week in Beijing. He's into the semifinals, playing Alexander Zverev actually right now as I'm recording this. So maybe a final or a title even in Beijing for Tsitsipas. He's not going to like how Felix Auger-Aliassime is a potential second-round opponent. He's 0-2 against the young Canadian in his career. And then also in this section, we've got a great first-round matchup, maybe the best first-round match of this tournament. That's John Isner against Alex de Minaur. And for de Minaur, the young Aussie, coming off a title in Zhuhai, the third career title for the Demon. And they say styles make fights. These are two polar opposite styles that I'm really looking forward to. You've got the speed and defense of the relatively diminutive de Minaur against the serve and the power of the behemoth American. Should be a great battle. Give me the slight edge, though, to the Demon. In the second quarter in Shanghai now, we see the likes of Daniil Medvedev, Karen Khachanov, Fabio Fognini. But I want to start off by talking about the player who's undoubtedly been the story of the tour lately, and that is Andy Murray and his rebirth. For Murray, he picked up his first singles victory in the year 2019 last week against Tennis Sangren, and this week backed it up with 2 more victories, defeating fellow countryman Cameron Norrie and top 15 player Matteo Berrettini. It's just crazy, you know, the hip surgery back in January for Murray. Everybody thought he was done. He announced, he was going to be retiring after Wimbledon this year. And I think the number one thing that everyone is encouraged about with Murray is his movement. He's starting to move around, scurry around the court a bit like his old self. He's not in pain, playing signature defensive Murray tennis. And I don't know, he's only 32. All of a sudden, it looks like the Brit could be around for a while now. I really hope so. Me personally, I don't think I've appreciated him as much as I maybe should have throughout his career. I feel like he's kind of gotten lost in this generation with Rafa, Roger, and Novak. And sometimes, we call it the Big Four, but I really never thought that he was up to the echelon of those 3 guys. And so it's just good to see him back and healthy. And I'm really excited. And he thinks he can keep improving more. So props to him. It's a great draw for Murray, though, at the Shanghai Masters. He gets a qualifier in round 2, and then potentially in the second round against Fognini, a player he's 4-3 against in his career. And hopefully Murray keeps it rolling. Back to Medvedev then. Medvedev, maybe you've heard since we've last talked, the Russian made another final, actually won another title at the ATP 250 event in St. Petersburg. So that was without dropping a set. Just to review the last 2 months for Medvedev: final in DC, final in Montreal, a title at the Masters 1000 event in Cincinnati, final then at the US Open, losing to Nadal there, and then the title in St. Petersburg. He's scalding hot, 24-3 in those last 5 events. Leads the tour in wins in 2019. He's just been a beast. I hope he has a nice, relaxing vacation planned in about a month's time, because he has put in the sweat equity and the hard yards like no other players recently. So I hope he gets to spend a couple weeks on a beach or something, just sit down and chill. He is the heavy favorite, though, in my opinion, to make it out of this second section. And moving now to the bottom half, section 3 should be wide open. We could see a surprise winner from this third quarter. Dominic Thiem, the highest seed here, who is into the final of Beijing. Who knows how much energy he's going to have, but he's currently in the final there. That 500 level competition just booked his ticket to the ATP finals. And I want to talk Beijing this week. The top 4 seeds made the final 4 there. Thiem, Zverev, Tsitsipas, Khachanov, and a litany of guys fighting for those final 8 spots in London right now. So we have the 5 locks in Rafa, Novak, Roger, Medvedev, and Thiem. They have all booked their ticket now to the year-end finals, and Stefanos Tsitsipas at number 6 is virtually a lock as well. So we basically have a number of guys fighting for 2 remaining spots to London. You've got the likes of Bautista Agut, Zverev, Berrettini, Nishikori, Goffin, Fognini. And it's just a logjam for those last 2 spots. And in this section, we've got a couple of those guys. We could see Roberto Bautista Agut and Matteo Berrettini potentially in the 3rd round. And that could be pivotal for those rankings. That'd be a tough match to call. I think whoever gets more first ball forehands and can dictate the play from the back of the court between the Spaniard and the Italian will have the edge in that matchup. But like I said, this section should be pretty open. I could see a deep run by Benoit Paire, who's got a lot of match wins this season. Maybe Riley Opelka, the 7-foot American, coming off a semifinal appearance in Tokyo. I just think Thiem may be a little fatigued. This is a wide open section for sure. And then finally, section 4, a pretty tough draw for the number 2 seed Roger Federer at the bottom there. I'd keep your expectations pretty low for this event for Fed, only because he still knows he has to play in Basel. He's got to do the Paris Masters and then the year-end finals. So 4 big events in this last month and a half. He doesn't want to use all of his 2019 fuel quite yet, and it is a pretty challenging draw. Could be against Marin Cilic in the 2nd round. Fed 9-1 in his career against Cilic, but of course we know that one loss, the 2014 US Open semifinals against Cilic, the one Grand Slam of the Croatian's career. We've seen that Cilic can overpower Fed at times. I think of the 2016 Wimbledon quarterfinals when he was up 2 sets to love. Fed had that miraculous comeback, but Cilic has had Roger's number at times. Definitely a player who can take the racket out of your hands. So that will be tough. Maybe David Goffin in the 3rd round, who's coming off a good run in Tokyo. And then Alexander Zverev in the round of 16. I would love to see Fed versus Sasha in the round of 16. So much mutual admiration between those 2 guys. And I spoke about how Laver Cup helped Tsitsipas and his run of play lately. Zverev, though, really was slumping pretty hard for his standards throughout the summer. 1st round defeat at Wimbledon, round of 16 loss then in the US Open to Diego Schwartzman, where he just had some woeful problems in the serving department. But Zverev looks to have his swagger back. I think the Laver Cup helped him the most. It's like Fed's trust and respect towards him means the world to Zverev. That environment, Roger and Rafa being able to coach him, cussing at him to be more positive. Of course, the video of Fed before the Super Breaker has gone kind of semi-viral. I love that so much, but it's so obvious there was going to be a mini turnaround for Zverev here, and he crushed Felix Auger-Aliassime in Beijing. Looks really good, as I said, playing Tsitsipas in the semifinals of Beijing as I record this, so he's looking good. I would love to see those 2 guys play. And another great 1st round matchup in Shanghai will be in this section. Borna Coric against Andrei Rublev. Very similar records this season. They're both on pretty good runs, and these 2 can smoke the ball off of both wings, forehand and backhand. Should be highlights galore. The Russian leads 2-0 in the head-to-head, but I think it could go either way. They've both been pretty hot lately. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. Let me know what you think will happen in Shanghai. And be on the lookout for previews. I'm still going to preview the women's year-end finals as well as the men's year-end finals for tennis tournaments this year. So Yeah, a lot of good things still to come. Thanks a lot. Cheers.